Okay. Hello, all. Welcome to Black Girl in the World. If you don't know me, you will. And if you do, welcome back. The days are getting warmer and it's time for us to go outside with our mask on, of course. I cannot wait to be out and eat with my friends and take vacations and just enjoy the money I have earned. But I have to be mindful of how much I spend. And today we have a very inspiring guest that can provide his experience about financial literacy. He is the president and chief visionary officer of Backdoor LLC, a producer with the demonstrated history of working in the podcast, cable, and multimedia industry, experienced in media production with Fox TV, BET, CTV, and other familiar industries. And he has also earned his honorary doctorate of Humanities from Victory Bible College for his 30 plus years of dedication and work in the community. I hope to have just as much expertise and community involvement as you one day. Thank you, Dr. Rome, for being here with me today. How are you?
I am doing great. I'm doing great. I want to thank you for inviting me on your show. It's just great to be at the beginning of great things, so you can look back and say, I was a part of that. I helped that. It's an honor.
Thank you so much again. I just want to be able to have enough knowledge on this podcast for people to learn from, especially from you with so much of your experience. I'm sure you have so much to say and so much advice that I know people will be able to use.
Well, yeah, I hope my experiences and everything I'm speaking about is from my experiences. I hope that can help other people and at least give people some insight. Got a saying is that you don't have to walk on water when you know where the stones are. So if I can just lay out a few stones and help the community avoid some of the pitfalls and move faster to our destination, that's enough for me.
I like that very much. So in our initial conversation, I remembered that you mentioned being in control of your own money. What are some tips that you could give people to allow people to do just that?
First of all, we need to understand that we don't know about money. Money starts. What is it? What is money? Money is something of value. Do we want money? No, none of us want money. The people watching today really don't want money. If you did, you take your money home and put it on your bed and just jump around in the money when you get money. But that's not what we do. We want what money can do for us. So where does money come in? Well, we all have to create some kind of value because there are people that have things that we don't have and things that we have that other people have. So there needs to be some kind of exchange. No one has everything. So what do you have to offer? Well, we're born butt naked. We don't have anything except our time. And time is valuable. When people get ill toward the end of their life, you can't buy time. That's how valuable it is. So what do we do with that valuable commodity that we have, our time? Oftentimes we give it away. But if we know on jobs, on jobs, we trade time for money. We'll say, okay, pay me $25 an hour. So for every hour that I give you my time and my effort, you don't give me $25. So we're exchanging our time for money. And then we exchange that money for the things that we want. So how do we, we have to understand that what do we have of value that we're working with? What do we have? We have our intellectual value. We have our physical value. And so both of those are negotiable. But do we value? Do you value yourself? Do you value your knowledge? Do you value your time? So we have control over the value of our time. We have control over the value of our intellectual property, but we give it away to other people. How much would you give me for it? No, this is what you have to give me in order to get what I have. And once we start understanding the value, because we're all different, we all bring different things to the table. So once we can understand that we are the value, and then we can start to understand money. We'll go in, we'll give 40 hours, we'll get X amount of dollars back. So we've exchanged our time for that money. It's a business. Life is a business. You're always trading. You're trading everything that you do, even in a relationship. So how do you value yourself? How do you present that value? And what are your expectations for that value? And so I used to work early on in this marketing company. And, we talk about how to help people, in real estate, it's the same thing. How do you get that house? Well, sometimes the person that wants a house, I don't have money for down payment. They may want a motorcycle. I have a motorcycle in my garage that hasn't run in years. I may be able to trade that motorcycle to them for the down payment, and therefore I get to purchase the house, which is what I wanted to do. So if I can satisfy you and you can satisfy me, fair exchange is no robbery. So we need to value what we are bringing to the table and understand that that other person has a value. And you can usually work out a deal. Anything that two people agree on, it's cool. No one's going to argue with that. No matter how lopsided it may seem, if you and I agree on it, then it's fair for you, it's fair for me, we both agree to it. Let's do that and move on. So I think that's the key, is really understand that it's not we have to go out and get money. We have to understand our value. And you're a person and you have this program. So now you have leverage, you have some value. You have some place where people can come, and if they want to express their thoughts, their opinions, get concepts out there, you have that platform. Okay, so what are you going to get from that? Well, it's going to add value to my show because people are going to understand this is where you can get this kind of value. So that means now just by you having this show and having valuable people with value coming on your show, then then sponsors are going to say, she's valued to us because she has people coming to her content, her platform. And therefore we can put our product on your platform and they get some value from you, and you're just swinging the value and understanding what that different value is. And so from that even with that, if that company said, okay, I'm not going to give you money, but I'll let you have one of my used cars. That's value. You can sell it if you want to, but that's transportation. All right. So we have to start looking at how we utilize what we have at our disposal. And it's always, 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 how do I get there from here? If we can keep that kind of mindset, where I am right now with what I have, how can I get to where I'm trying to get or accomplish what I'm trying to accomplish? How can I leverage that? How can I move that? How can I trade that? So once we can kind of get in that frame of mind, because it's all business. It's all business. We may not think it's business. We don't think relationships. That's not business, it's love. No, it's business. Stop loving them. See if they're going to continue to love you. It's business, So we just kind of change our concept of money, of business, and of value. It's not a bad thing. It's not a sin.
I completely agree with you, Dr. Ram, especially when sometimes we don't really realize just how, because my aunt, she was telling me that sometimes we focus so much on what we're not good at and not emphasizing what we are good at to put out, enough content or whatever it is, this type of skill that person has to generate something, opportunities, money, instead of just focusing on having different incomes of things that you're probably not good at all.
We base our success really on school, and it's a big part of our confidence. Going to school, what kind of grades did you get? Well, I got D's and E's. I was a straight A student. A different energy, a different belief system, and but that system does not value your individuality. See, the world will, but the school system is not set up to do that. So we those things aren't important in that realm, in that system. So it's not important to us, and we're in it for 12, 13 years. So, we have to be around people, who understand and can value. Teachers, you go to a music teacher, and a music teacher can identify your talent, can identify your gift, in certain areas, in the skill level. Education is more like, oh yeah, well, they can remember everything. They've got a good memory and they'll give it to me. They'll listen, but can you take that information and make it into something else and grow it and bring value to that information versus, well, I know this. Okay, we'll hire you. Yeah, but in a pinch, can you think your way, out of that situation? And those are the skills. Those are the things that show in things like this. When, as you're starting your show, you had to make a decision. Who do I want on my show? That was your decision. They didn't teach you that in school. You have to use your values and say, this is what I'm trying to do. And then plug in your assets, that you need. So it's a different muscle. It really is. Money, and you see that the people who we consider to be successful in money, making money, they're creative as far as how they make money. Most of the times they'll follow certain how can I say, not patterns, just certain principles. They'll study the principles and then they will apply those principles in different venues so that they can benefit, use that principle over here and benefit from this situation. And so we really have to just, as long as we keep thinking, money becomes, once you understand it, it's a piece of cake.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, because I also wanted to ask you about the common mistakes people make in terms of making money or just saving overall.
Okay, this is a two-part question. The first part, the biggest mistake is that money is a bad thing. And that's something we've been taught in our churches and in our religion. So it's something we don't really go into to try to value and to try to maximize. We want the results, but we feel like if we're asking for money or if we put a value on ourselves, that we're being greedy. And the notion that in order to be a righteous person, you have to be broke and humble and not really have a lot of means. So that's the first one. Second of all, I think really for me, it comes to that dreadful word that you said, that we're taught so much is savings. I often, I'm not a big religious guy, but there's this book out and they kind of talk about these three people who were given these talents, and they kind of talk about how one took the talents and they doubled them, right? After the master had given them the talents and left, they had their talents and they doubled them while the master was gone. And the next one, after the master left, I think they a small return. And then the third one buried him and buried the talents. And so the issue was, he thought it was being safe. And look, I saved them for you. They're right here, just like you gave them to me. And the master, the reason why he was a master, because he utilized assets, And so he frowned upon him, scolded him, because he didn't take that opportunity. He didn't take that as a seed. We look at money as the end, and the people who move on and progress understand it as a seed, because we want to take it and spend it, right? And get something instead of, like I always say, I want my money to go out and meet some more friends, bring me back their friends, So make some friends with money and bring me back more money. And it'll do that if we kind of change up. But we're taught to save. We're taught to save, put it there. And who teaches that? They teach that in school. Well, who's who's behind all this? It's the systems, it's the banking systems. Because what do we save it? They don't tell us to put it on our mattress. They don't tell you to dig a hole and save it, do they? Where do they tell you to save it?
In the bank.
In their bank. So let's take a look at that. Save your money. You need to save your money. So they put it in their bank. They give you 2%, 3%, say $100, $103 at the end of the year. And so they take that money. They're going to give you back, and I will do this deal all day long. You'll give them 100, okay? So they're going to give you back 103 at the end of the year. Over the course of that year, they're taking that 100 and they're going out and investing it. Well, they can get 20%, 15, 25, 50% back return on that money. So let's say they got 50% back on their money. So now they have 150, and so they had nothing. So now they're going to give you 103, and they have $47 when they didn't put up a dime. I'll do that deal all day long. We do it with our taxes too. We overpay our taxes, and then at the end of the year they give that money back, but they don't give us any interest because they make money off of our money. So we have to understand how things really are versus trying to stay in a bubble and being afraid of doing things that other people aren't doing and think that because other people aren't doing it, that it's illegal. And then when people do it and then they benefit greatly from it, then we think it was a loophole. No, it's not a loophole. It's right there for you to see it, but you didn't take the time to read. So, those are the two things, is that money needs to work. I want my money to work. Wealthy people have their money working for them instead of them working for money. You get the initial seed, but then you get that to work for you.
Okay, I definitely completely agree. My parents, they're both back and forth because my dad is a big saver and my mom, she's a little bit more on the spending side. So I have that back and forth where my dad, explains to me a lot about the interest in banks and, where we should put our money and how much I should save, and also investments. What are your thoughts on investments like Acorn and those different options and alternatives?
I'm a real estate guy, because the thing early on, what I learned with real estate is, first of all, everybody needs someplace to live or do business. Everybody, even a homeless person needs real estate. Right? You got to sleep somewhere. So everyone needs it. And the thing about real estate is, real estate is only one of the few an investment where you can go in and it's just typical. Anybody want to buy a house? You can go in and buy a house, put up maximum 20%, control 100% of the asset, and all the appreciation is yours, and you can depreciate it. Where else can you do that? If I'm going to buy gold, in order for me to get the value of gold, I have to put up the whole, $3,000, whatever it is now an ounce. I have to put that up in order to own and to control that asset. The thing about stocks are good, and people who are in the stock market, I'm not comfortable with being, and that's just me. It doesn't mean it's not a good vehicle, but I understand how, if I'm a business, I can, to a certain degree, manipulate the value of the shares in the business, the stock. If I want to say we had a great year this year and we profited $10 million. And so now we're getting down toward the end of our fiscal year. And I decide we've got $10 million sitting there. And I decide I need a private jet, $6 million private jet. So I just took my surplus, and I need it for business. It's a business expense now. So it's not considered profit. So now I go in, I buy a jet for $6.5 million. So I've got $3.5 million left. So my shares will reflect the value that I have left because it's built on profit. The value of the company. But you take out your expenses. It's an asset. But once you get that plane, it's not worth $6.5 million anymore. It's yours, and now it's a used jet. So I'm saying they can kind of control the value of the shares that way. And I never want, personally, I don't want other people to control my profits. I try to stay away from wages. Profit is better than wages. So I want to be able to, hey, I want to make some more money in this property. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to put a different kitchen in this property. Okay, now I put a different kitchen in there. Now I can raise my rent, $75, $100 a month. I can add on to the property. I can renovate the property. I can do different things, to add value to my property. So I'm more in control that way. That's just my lane.
I really didn't know exactly the different, I guess, avenues to making more money and actually having more control, because I found it very weird, especially on Acorn, because I like to put a certain amount of money per week and see it go up. Sometimes I see it stand still or go down. And I always had an issue of withdrawing my money, because anytime I tried to do that, it was always 2 to 3 business days. And it's like, it's my money. Why should I wait for
I want it now.
Exactly. And I never fully understood that. And I know my mom, at first she mentioned like they're borrowing it from somebody else. It's not necessarily your money. It's everyone like kind of just going back and forth and having their money being shared out.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Yeah, we don't understand how money works. We think the bank is our friend. The bank is business. They're holding that money. Why would they hold our money if it wasn't to some advantage to them? And when we put money in, let's say for $100, put $100 in, they can loan. Now they can loan 9 times that amount of money against that $100. So imagine if someone gave me $100 and said, okay, you can loan out $900, and I can collect interest on all of that. So they're using our money, making larger returns and giving us the crumbs. Why don't we circumvent the middleman and find out where they're putting the money? See, so and we've been told to put your money someplace and just let it sit, and the market go up and down, up and down, up and down. But where they're putting their money, it's only going up. I mean, you can do high risk, but most of the times you're gonna do something that you're gonna get a certain return. If I can get 20, 25, 15% return, I'll put it there versus there's a chance you can get 40, 50%, but there's a chance that, something may happen. So those are how we look at deals and look at our money situation. Everyone should have a balance sheet. It seems like it's this sophisticated form. It really isn't. It's just a sheet. You put down your bills, you put down your income, and you put down how much expenses you have over the course of the month, and how much you have excess, how much cash flow, positive cash flow you have at the end of the month. We can sit down with people and go over their situation. It's not to judge anyone, because we don't know. Wherever we are, we want to do better. I don't care who it is. Wherever you are with money, you want to see how you can maximize it and do better. So we need to kind of show the blemishes. And by showing the blemishes, someone can say, okay, well, if this were like this, if your credit score was higher, if you pay down some of your credit cards, if you rent for a little while, but you don't want to stay in rent, but you want to buy a property where there's equity in it already. You don't pay full price, never pay full price. And if you buy a house that has equity in it, so when everybody that's renting, think about this. Really think about this. Okay, so if I'm a single man, and I need some place to live, so I can go find a duplex, 2 units together, and I want to pay rents out there are $1,500 a month, and I can buy this duplex where I can have both units and my purchase it, and my mortgage is $1,200. Okay, so let's not forget that. Say it's $1,500, same thing. I'm gonna purchase the same thing. So I can move into one, because rents are $1,500. So I can go in, and instead of me renting a place for $1,500, I can take the lower part of the building and rent out the top unit, and I can charge them $1,200. I can charge them $1,000, and now I'm living for $1,000. I'm living for $500, $1,500. Or I can rent it to them for $1,500. I get to determine what I'm going to rent this place for, and now I'm living in a place that I own, and my tenant is paying my mortgage. not all of it, most of it. So every place that you go and rent, making money off of the deal. So if you're paying $1,500 for rent, they're not paying $1,500 for mortgage. Okay, so if I house is $200,000, I'm paying $850, $900 a month, okay, for mortgage. I can rent it for $1,200, $1,500. You look at your area, what rents are, and if I can rent for $1,500, why would I buy it and pay $900 a mortgage and rent it out for $800? Doesn't make sense. Bad business. Who does that? So everybody that's renting is costing the owner less money to pay the mortgage. So really, the renter is paying that person's mortgage and expenses for that residence. But they're owning it. You're renting it. Okay. What do you get at the end? They have an asset where, say it was $200,000 and people are renting it, paying down their mortgage. Now they own $150,000 on it. They didn't pay any of the money. All their tenants paid for it. The tenants lived, paid the rent, and moved off. They didn't walk away with anything. I'm sitting here, and I have a property now that's increasing in value, and what I owe on it is decreasing. So my profit, as it's increasing in value, what I owe on it is getting smaller. So I'm looking good. So understand how that game is. If anybody that's renting, they can afford a house. They can afford it. They have enough money to pay for a house if you're paying for rent. So, but most of the time it's people's credit. That's the issue. It's credit. So, and it all comes back to just understanding a house, a car, a job. And if we can just grasp what we do with our money there and look at it and pay attention and understand what the game is, what the other side is doing, what they want to do, and what I'm trying to accomplish. So I'll ask people, so what are you trying to accomplish with your money? You know, what are you trying to do? And how are you doing? Well, I don't make enough. Yet they go out, you know, they go out to the club every weekend, or, you know, for women, they get their hair done and get a manicure and a pedi. And, you know, guys are buying video games and playing, spending $200 a month on video games. You know, it's crazy. It's crazy, you know, but so they can't position themselves for the things that they really want in life and to live the kind of life that they want to live. So it's there, it's available. But we don't take money seriously. We spend it, and everyone else benefits from it.
Well, I know I definitely have that issue in terms of splurging. My parents were always, I know, I'm not good at it. And I've always just wanted to be in control of my money, but I know sometimes I lose myself in getting my paycheck and knowing I want to get this, I have to get something for my car, my hair, clothes, I'm going out with my mom.
You have to?
I don't have to, I want to.
I thought that's what you said, okay.
And I just want to know, how do you have control over your money in regards to not splurging?
When people say there's certain things I want to buy a car. Okay, do you know what a car is going to cost? A lot of times people say I want a car, they don't know what it costs. Okay, what are the expenses with a car? Okay, so okay, for me to get a car X amount of dollars. My credit is going to cost me $300 a month. Okay, so I'm going to need $300. With that comes insurance. Okay, so I have to pay insurance. That might be another $125 a month. Okay, now I have to have gas in it, you know. And so I'm driving to work, so that's going to cost me another $200 a month on whatever. So now it's with $3,150 and $2, $3,150 and $2, $5, $650. So now, okay, $650 a month, I've got to allocate for this car. Having this car, that's what it costs me. Okay, that's what I want to get. So then you look at what your needs are, your expenses. Find out what they are. And then you say, okay, how much money do I have left over every month after I pay my food? Okay, now I can count in the hair and the nails and everything if I want to. I have to have it, you know, okay, and that's going to raise your expenses up. But you make this, and these are your expenses. So you've got to buy that car, that $600 has to come out the fat. So Are there some expenses you can cut? See, we always think we have to make more money. Well, suppose I cut my expenses. I'm still increasing my fat. We live off the fat. So if I can decrease my expenses, and then I say, okay, well, on my job, there's this other position coming up. I'm gonna go, try to get this raise, try to get this promotion. And you get that promotion. So now you see you're in a place where you can pay all your expenses, and you can add this $600 that you know it's gonna cost you for your car. But we can't. This is the part where people don't want to take the time, because once you know what it's going to take, then it's on you. Can't make any excuses. When you don't know, you say, well, I want to get a car, but things are so tough. You can say, speaking, in generalities. But when you know, what you do, money you're spending here, now it's on your shoulders. I need to stop going to Dunkin' Donuts. I need to stop every Friday night wearing it like a suit. And so when we do identify the things that we really want, then it's a spirit that, hey, I know I really want that. No, okay, I'm not gonna go. Yeah, fellas, next time, man, I'll catch you next time. And you go home and you go watch, Netflix, but I'm getting closer to getting that car. Because my car is breaking down all the time, and I have to keep fixing it, and that's costing me more money. So I might as well just go and get a new one. But we have to have something in our life that is of value, at least to you, so that you're willing to do what you need to do to attain it. And as you set these little goals along the way, you'll turn around in 2 years and you'll be so far away from where you were. It'll be like, wow, but it was a little bit at a time. And so the monster doesn't look so big. Where they say, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So as you do it, you get closer to that next thing. Okay, well, I got the car now. I want to get my own place. I want to buy something, right? And you just keep that. You had the discipline. You saw how you got it. You got the roadmap. Just keep doing the same thing. But we get there and then we give up. We go celebrate and blow a whole lot of money. Then we starting all over again. Our credit's messed up. And this, that, 'cause I got a car now. I got to have some new clothes. I got to look right in my new car. So we get caught up in that. And as long as we keep putting goals and things in front of us that we want, I want to put this money into my show. I want to get new microphones. I want to get me a green screen. Okay, and as you do that, it's going to bring more money to you, and it's going to help you. Okay, now I got a little more money. I can do something else. So it's a process. And we're so much of we want everything now.
That is true. I completely agree. And I felt inspired by listening to you express how much we should be in control over our own money, and just knowing that this is what I want. We got to write it out. We got to stick to our plans.
Well, you are in control of your money. You're the one that takes that money and goes down to the club every night. You're the one that goes in and gets that $600 weed at the hairdresser. So you're in control of it, right? But just make better decisions. That's the key. See, that's what we want to do. We want to take ourselves out of the equation. I can't control it. No, you are. And I'm not saying that to you, but these are the things that we say, that keep us from doing the things. So it's kind of like, I wish I could. No, you have total control. We do. And as we take those things, man, life takes off. It takes off. Didn't you have to make a decision? What were the decisions you had to make in order to get to this point from where you were to get to this point where now you have interviews coming on your show? What were the things you had to? How did you get from where you were to here, where you're actually doing interviews now? What were the things you had to do?
Well, first I had to start talking to more people, interacting, sharing my things on social media, getting rid of my stage fright of interacting with people mainly.
So did you do social media once every 2 or 3 months? Did you start?
I definitely try to interact with social media a couple of times here and there, sharing it in group chats, and just, I guess, get people talking by word of mouth and also social media.
So you had to keep doing it over and over.
Yes.
Right, that was your pattern. You changed your pattern. From what you were doing, you had to actually put some energy into it. And as you put your energy into it, things started coming to you. Things started opening up. People started coming to you. You saw different avenues, different opportunities as you started moving towards it. But until we take that step and say, okay, I'm gonna do it, and we take the first step, and then we see what happens, then we're closer to it. And all we can see is the next step. Just take the next step. You don't need to see the whole way. And then you look back and you've taken a whole lot of steps. And look at you now. Look at you now. Just sitting up here smiling on Zoom, doing your own thing. You see what I'm saying? And you have control. You could have done some other things with your time. You could have just Netflix and chill. You could have done a lot of other things, but you put it towards your passion and what you wanted to do. That's the secret. Don't tell nobody.
I will not tell anyone at all.
You gotta tell everybody. What you talking about? Tell everybody. This is what we do.
Yes.
Yeah.
So my last question for you, Dr. Rome, is what are some other...
Last, we over already?
I know, it was so much fun. But I hope that we can be able to have another episode talking about other different things and
most definitely.
sharing more.
Another interview I'm going to be on Saturday with a good friend of mine. She is a master journalist. Journaling is what she does. Journalist. I think she's a journalist.
Mm-hmm.
Journaling. And we started journaling a few years back, and it's been a very big asset to our lives. Yeah. So anyway, go ahead.
Oh, okay. By the way, I would love to get her information and talk more with her about just masters in journaling, because that's very interesting.
Another tool.
Yes. My last question would be, what would be some of, I guess, your words of wisdom in terms of what you felt like you knew back then and what you know now, and something you can share with young adults such as myself on please don't make these mistakes, or make these mistakes to teach you and help you grow?
For those who ideally really want to grow, we have to understand that when we're talking about growing, we've got to let go of some things and move forward. So that means we have to be open to ideas. And the biggest problem, particularly in our community that we have, is that we've broken that lineage between generations. We tend now to devalue wisdom. And that's what the people now, of course, you take the generations now. My generation, we don't know all about the snapbox and the chat wig and all that stuff. We don't know that, but things don't change. Concepts and principles don't change. How people interact don't change. Behavior, when you see a pattern of behavior, it's going to continue that way. When you understand what this world is about, then you can go into this world and be successful. But when you know everything, when you believe you know everything, or people don't have anything of value to bring to you, then you're going to be stagnant, or you're going to have to learn it on your own. And what they say, it's a fool that learns on his own is a wise man that learns from the mistakes of others. So we have, these are just African principles, and we've gotten away from those principles, and we want to live a lifestyle and a popular lifestyle. When I was young, we didn't have the influence of social media, television. We had 4 channels. So athletes who stars were an influence, but they weren't every day, in our lives, all 24 hours a day. And so our role models and our influences came from the people around us. They came from your fathers and your mothers and your uncles and your aunts, because they cared for you and they knew the world that you were going out there and stepping into. So they wanted to prepare you because you're their offspring, you're the next generation. And they wanted because our children become of adult age. Just because you become of adult age doesn't mean that you're that you're mature, and it definitely doesn't mean that you know everything. I don't know everything. I'm still learning things every day about this world. And this is the world we live in, not the world they show us. So young people, I tell you, find someone, find a mentor in whatever you're doing. If you want to know about money, find a mentor, someone that has done something. If you want to go into a profession, find someone who has been successful in that profession. How do I get there from here? See, someone who hasn't been there doesn't know how to get there from here. They don't know. They don't know which is the right path. Talk to someone that's been there. Humble yourself and listen. That's the only way. That's the only way. You keep banging your head against the wall while other cultures, they have that linkage between generations. And they're making sure that the young people aren't fighting them. They're taking that wisdom and they're taking those suggestions and putting that all down the field. And then when their grandparents and their parents pass on, they left them in a good position. They've got all the knowledge, and now they've got the youth and the muscles and the drive and the energy to make it happen. Because I had to have that back then when I was pushing. You got to have the drive. In order to make it happen, you have to continue to do it. You got to get up. You got to push. You got to be about it. You got to be on the grind. And so when you got the knowledge and you're doing that grind, you can't lose. You can't lose. That's why every place you go, anybody that's successful, I don't care what avenue, what area you go into, the ones with experience, when you come in here, they always kick your behind. They always. And they can show you the way. That's rookies, don't get a whole lot of respect. You got to earn your stripes, and people take advantage of it. That's the way life is. If you don't know, it's not fair. It's not fair, but everyone has the same, it's equal. I mean, everyone has to deal with the same from someplace, different, it might look different. And so don't get frustrated. Don't think that it's a, I don't want to say bad things. Unfortunate things aren't going to happen to you. They are. That's life. It's going to happen to you. Then it's going to happen to you again. Then it's going to happen to you again. Things are going to, when I get a blessing, you and I going in to look for a car, a new car, and we both go in there. You go in before me. You see this car. You like it. You go home. I come in after you. I see the car. I want this car. Man, that's my car. This car is meant for me. This is my color. This is convertible too. I got to get this car. I go back home. Oh yeah, this is my car. This is going to be a blessing for me. And I come in and you had already gone home and got your money and paid for it and bought it. And I feel like you took my blessing. No. That was your blessing. That was your blessing. It wasn't meant for me. There's something better coming for me down the road. And unless I can take that and understand, okay, well, I'm going there and find another one. There's something else out there for me. They said, oh, but it took mine. It's done. I'll never find a car. That car was perfect. I'll never, just forget the whole thing. Then you give up. And it's still there waiting. What you want is still there waiting for you. It is. It's yours. It's meant for you. We just have to go and get it. So don't feel like you have to know everything. You have to do everything on your own. Being independent. No one does anything independent. We all have help in whatever we do. Everything we do, we need help. So once we get in that mindset, I started looking for help. What can help me? Instead of thinking I can do it all. So we have to let go of our egos. We have to bring our generations together and listen to these folks. You don't have to take everything that they say, but there are nuggets in there that are principles that, because we saw them 20 years ago, we saw them 15 years ago, same thing happened over and over. We saw it 10 years ago, we saw it 5 years ago, we saw it last week. So I'm telling you, it's going to happen again next month. Stand over there. It's going to happen right there. Because I've seen the pattern. And sure enough, you get over there. How did you know that? I done lived a long time. I've seen that before. But it's hard to give that respect, when we're trying to be an adult and be independent. We think I have to do it all on my own. And that's not really what it is. We have to fit into this life and find your place and find the stones in the water. You don't have to walk on water if you can, find those stones to help you get along. So that's the thing I try to stress to young people. And sometimes it's just shut up and listen. Listen. You don't have to do everything. Just listen. And I can't tell you how many times I didn't listen and I regretted it later on. So that's life. And you're going to have children and you're going to talk to your children and they're going to get to a point where, Mom, that's old fashioned. Don't nobody do that anymore. And you say, okay, son. And you go out there and bump his head.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Rome, for being on this podcast and sharing your wisdom with us. I really hope that the listeners will consider your advice. And please, Dr. Rome, is there any way the listeners can contact you and interact?
Yes, they can. I'm launching now. I have a apparel design company, 3EO Designs. And here's just a little, we've got, 10 T-shirts and different wear. Yeah, there it is.
Oh, wow, that's nice.
Yeah. Well, you can't see the whole thing. Because where I'm trying to show you some things. This one says, Africa breastfeeds the world. African, what is that? African, no, that's the same one. African knowledge, predates all college. And so, we're just bringing African quotes and statements so that people can, Africans built Egypt, the greatest civilization of all time, then did it again for America. So we've got a bunch of T-shirts, sweatshirts, coffee mugs. That's at www.3EO Designs. And our Facebook is the same, 3EO Designs, facebook.com/3EO Designs. So we'll be launching the store by the end of this month. As a matter of fact, as I shared with you before, I'm working with Dawn. So she's helping me, young person I had to get help from. She's giving me some wisdom as far as Shopify and things like that. Ain't no shame in my game. She knows more than I do. So I'm leaning on her heavy. So she's helped me to open the store. So yes, you can contact me there. Facebook, 3EO Designs, and www.3EODesigns.com. So we've got some more things coming. Always Journal is where I'm going to be Saturday. On Facebook, it's going to be a discussion, journaling. She got us involved in journaling in 2013. And how I'm living now is a result of her training and working with her. So those of you, I'll send you the information. If you want to put it out to your people, you can, or if, by chance you want to tune in, check us out.
Of course, Dr. Rome, I got you, and I will definitely be in contact with you throughout, because I need some wisdom myself in mentoring. So
we'll get together. Let me know when you're available, when you want to start doing some things, and we'll work it out.
Thank you, Dr. Rome, and thank you so much. Everyone, if you guys reach the end of this episode, thank you, and I hope you listen to the next one. Bye, guys.
And remember to subscribe, like, subscribe and like.
Yes.
And share. Right.